Well, hey, and welcome to another episode of Beetle Destino. Hope I'm not too sweaty from my workout I got unboxing that Beatles in mono box, but I'm here to talk about another big Beatles purchase I recently made. and Paul McCartney and the Out There tour, or wow, not the Out There tour, the Got Back tour. All right, the last one I saw him on was the Out There tour, so that's I think why it's in my head. But yeah, I've got my ticket, and I'm going to talk a little about that and the ticket prices and some other things after the intro. Yes, I am going to be seeing Paul on October 17th of 2025 at the US Bank Stadium where the Minnesota Vikings play in downtown Minneapolis. I am so looking forward to it. My sister is going with me. She's a big concert goer. I'm shocked. I'd seen Paul in Fargo in 2014 for the Out There tour. I already kind of talked about that a little. And I went with my other sister to that, and she's not the big concert goer, but her husband was a big Beatles fan, and she's a Beatles fan too. And I think she wanted to go, and we all went and enjoyed it so much. And that's the last I've seen him, but that's the last he's really kind of came to my very immediate area. He's came to Minneapolis and St. Paul a couple of times, but when I saw the announcement on this, at first I was like, and then literally about 3 seconds later, I'm like, yeah. So I very excited to see this. And yes, I am going to admit, I just want to be there. I don't feel Paul has got too many tours left in him. I was really kind of shocked. I thought the Got Back tour was kind of wrapping up. So I was a little shocked that he added on a few more shows on that. And, obviously shocked that Minneapolis was on that list. And, not a terrible drive for me. I know everybody's kind of complaining that they're in the New York area and got to drive up to Buffalo to see him. That's the closest one to them. Or I think in Montreal somewhere. Yeah, I think I've got a little further drive than you guys got, actually. And but I'm going to make it. And the second that I heard the tickets were going to be, that the show was happening, I booked my hotel room right away that night because I knew there was a hotel literally within walking distance of the arena there. And I wanted to make sure I secured a room there. I've looked at that before for just staying at Minneapolis in general, and always thought, if there's a concert or something I'm going to go to at US Bank Stadium, that looks to be the place to go. And I locked in my room and everything there right away on that. And so I've joked I'm as close as, probably closer than even an Uber or a taxi I'll get you, or walking from the light rail station or anything that's right there. So I'm either just as close or closer where I'm at there. And I wanted to get there. And so the ticket prices, that's been the big thing on this. And I've seen Matt Williams, Pop Goes the 60s video. I've seen Matthew Street kind of reacting to his video. I've also seen all of me and Mr. Mayo's videos talking about this subject. And I know there's probably others out there too. But I kind of put my sister in charge of it. Like I said, I'm going with my sister that goes to tons of concerts. I'm the physical media guy. She's the concert going. She's probably a bigger music nut than I am. Her band though is Hanson. She's seen them so many times she doesn't even know how many times she's seen them. Yeah, I kind of put her in charge on it because she has went to some other bigger shows too. I know she saw Pink, she saw Queen. She's went to some bigger shows like that, and I know her daughter's into some band. I don't know, it's a newer band, but I know she said it was tough getting tickets for that. Kind of a little struggle. But she was a little blown away with the craziness to getting Paul McCartney tickets. She was a little shocked on it, and I was kind of shocked. She was shocked because knowing some of these other more recent artists and stuff, and the Queen one, not obviously recent, but they're very up, in the moment right now, and very much everybody's kind of looking to go see in that. And she was a little shocked on it, just how crazy it went. I had the pre-sale code I sent to her. And she looked at it and kind of dragged her feet on it because she told me, she's like, I've never spent more than $200 on a ticket. And, she was already looking at the nosebleed seats and they were, 200, 250. I was kind of glancing with her and kind of letting her just take the reins on it. And at one point I saw there were some that were kind of almost center. They were up in one of the upper levels, but they were center stage and just one row up on that. I think it was row B. And I was thinking that doesn't look bad, but they were $260 about. And I know she was, I think, thinking a little more towards 200. Even I was thinking a little more towards 200. So I know she dragged her feet, I dragged my feet, and we kind of let those go. And then she said, I'm just going to wait for when the general public sale goes and see what happens. Because she says, I've seen a number of times where good price tickets in good seats do come available once that is. Because when they do these, fan sales, or, if you got like a credit card that you got like a special access sale, it's just a block of seats that they've already got kind of sectioned out for you. It's not every seat in the arena. And so she's got kind of a point on that. And I kind of realized that with that. And I said, let's see what happens. So we waited for yesterday, as I'm filming this, yesterday, Friday the 18th, when the general public sale started. And she got in the queue right away. It wasn't long after 10 o'clock, she messaged me saying she got the tickets. I start work right at 10. So that was a little difficult for me to try, but she luckily was off that day, and she hopped on and got those for us. And yeah, it wasn't long after 10 I got the message from her that she got tickets. I'm going to show a picture here. This is that kind of that section, the little red highlight thing. Those are our actual seats, I figured out, kind of looking at it. But that is, of course, of a Vikings game. But that's where we're going to be sitting. So I'm really kind of excited. It's, not the best seats in the house, but I just wanted to be there. I said I didn't care where I was. The only thing I cared about, I just recently had foot surgery, and I don't know how doing steps and stuff is going to be. I didn't want to go hiking up, to the true nosebleed section of the arena there, or, the hiking up those steep arena stairs up to my seats. I think we're 5 rows up, if I remember correct. I think, yeah, it is row 5 or whatever. So, whatever on that. And we're right on the aisle too. She always is looking for that on the aisle. I'm kind of that way too. I don't want to be squished in between everybody. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And I feel like my big thing on this to go see is I've the encore with I've Got a Feeling, and his little duet with John. I think I'm gonna absolutely lose it when that comes up. But as for the prices, and I'm just kind of going based off little things I've heard, and that I don't think Paul is as guilty on it as some people might be saying. I think it's the greed of the ticketing companies and the greed of the arenas themselves. I really feel like there's a contract kind of paid out, artist is going to come play for set amount. And correct me if I'm wrong on this. I'm just kind of off the top of my head on what this is. And yeah, maybe they are going to get a little share of the ticket cut. But see, a lot of these tickets, with the way Ticketmaster operates nowadays, and StubHub and any of these things, you don't realize you're buying from second-hand sellers. I think Ticketmaster is a little more transparent about it now, because my sister was showing me, I'll show you the little picture she sent me here. Anything in the pink, that's a reseller ticket. Anything in the blue is a Ticketmaster ticket. So just a standard, that's the price ticket. And then anything in the gray is a sold-out seat. So that's what you're seeing there. That's Ticketmaster. And I would say, to be safe, to not get these outrageous ticket prices, stick with Ticketmaster. And knowing that little tip now that it's open to the general public, look for those blue seats. There is, however, me and Mr. Mayo, just on one of his recent ones I just watched, talked about the flex thing, where just kind of as the demand's going, the ticket price might go up. And even Ticketmaster is guilty of that. And supposedly Paul is guilty of that too, because he's selecting to get... to let that happen, allegedly, because I guess Oasis did the same thing on their recent tour in Europe. The U.S., they opted not to do that because they saw how much it angered people, and it was the artist's decision on that. So I don't think that's entirely true. I think maybe they got pissed that it happened, and I think, to me, that's more something the ticketing company is going to do than it is going to be the artist, or even the arena. Well, the arena maybe will too. Everybody wants their cut. And, and you do got to think about it. These shows are a pretty big production. Just even look at Paul's crew. Between the band, everybody complained on his older tours that he was playing the horn sections with the keyboards. And I know recently on the Got Back tour, he hired an actual horn section. So that's new musicians and that he's got to pay. They're traveling out with him. More equipment they got to haul. That beautiful thing, like I said, I want to see I've got a feeling, I'm sure there was a lot of cost going into getting that technology and everything going for their show. So there's probably some cost on that. Now, I'm not totally justifying all this. And I mean, $45,000 a ticket, like Matt Williams was saying in Chicago there. And I think that's another thing too, is watching what city you're going to in it. If it's a large market city, yes, tickets are going to be outrageous. And look at the arena it's even in, because as he pointed out, it's at the United Center, which is a basketball arena, which those are usually a little smaller capacity arenas, so less tickets, so more demand, right? And also a bigger market. Chicago's what, the second or third largest city, and fourth maybe? I don't know. Well, one of the top 5 largest cities in the country in the United States. So that's going to factor into it too. Where I'm going in Minneapolis, which is a smaller market. It's a big city, yes, but it's a smaller market city overall. And I'm also seeing it at a football stadium, which is a much larger stadium, and so forth and so on. So there's more tickets available, so more so forth and so on. Our tickets did end up being about $272 a piece on that with the fees and everything. Yeah, it's a little pricey, but it is what it is. I kind of see the justification, and just pointing out small market versus that. However, this was 11 years ago. I pulled out my Good Evening New York City. This is where I keep my Paul McCartney ticket from when I did see him on the Out There tour in the Fargo Dome in Fargo, North Dakota. I live in Grand Forks. But yeah, as you can see there, I was shocked. I pulled this out the other day. For some reason, I was thinking it was about, this was floor seats basically. It was a riser in the back on the floor, but we were on the floor. $89.50 in 2014. But again, this was a very small market venue. It is a football arena, but it's a college football arena, so there's a factor there, so forth and so on. But small markets, so like Des Moines, Minneapolis, stuff like that. I think you're going to be finding Des Moines. I'm saying that one because I know it's a little closer to me too. That would have been another option to go see him there. But yeah, I'm kind of excited about this. This is the 8th time he is going to be coming to Minneapolis or Minnesota area, we'll say. 9 if you do count Fargo, because Fargo is literally right on the border with Minnesota. But I kind of looked up to see how many times he's been there, and I wanted to kind of do this in the video. But he was in Minneapolis area with the Beatles. It was Bloomington, I believe, right where Mall of America is built now. Metropolitan Stadium it was called, but everybody knows Mall of America, that it was built right over the old site of Metropolitan Stadium. I believe there's some little hidden things within the Mall of America that do kind of give a little nod to the Beatles playing right on that site. I know there is still from the seats from the baseball stadium and stuff, but that's Bloomington, Minnesota. They were there in 1965 on that. I didn't write down the dates. I'm surprised on that. We got the dates on everything else, but I'll have Words in the Corner will help me out there if it's available, where I can find it there. Wings was the next one, obviously, that he went with, that did come to Minnesota area. And that was at the St. Paul Civic Center in St. Paul, Minnesota on June 4th of 1976. That was the Wings Over the World tour. Solo-wise, the first time he showed up in Minnesota was in Minneapolis. Actually in Minneapolis now, right downtown, right where US Bank Stadium is at, actually. The old stadium that was there before they tore that down and built the US Bank Stadium. But that was the New World Tour in Minneapolis at the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome on May 23rd of 1993. And then he also did the Driving World Tour back over to St. Paul for this one at the XL Energy Center, which is a hockey arena there, on September 23rd of 2002. Then it was the US Tour or the US Tour, also in St. Paul, also at the XL Energy Center. This was in October 26th of 2005. The Out There tour was the next one that he came to that area. Like I said, again, I'm going to include this in there, but Fargo, North Dakota, Fargo Dome, July 12th, 2014. And then Minneapolis again at Target Field, at the time, the Twins' new baseball field, which was on August 2nd of 2014. Then the one-on-one tour, he actually did 2 shows in Minneapolis. Again, downtown Minneapolis, this time the Target Center, where the Timberwolves play for basketball there. And that was on May the 4th, Be With You of 2016, and Cinco de Mayo of 2016. So May 4th and May 5th of 2016. And I believe that one, the tickets sold so fast for that May 4th show that they had to add that second show. And I think it was kind of the last show of that little leg that he was doing on the one-on-one tour. So that kind of probably gave him a little more flexibility to add another night there. Plus, again, a smaller arena. So, of course, the tickets are going to sell out pretty fast. The next one now, so the 2016 was the last time he was in Minneapolis. It seems like he comes there more often, but now that I realize it's almost been 9 years, over 9 years, as it's, nine and a half years about. But now the next one, the Got Back Tour, Minneapolis again, US Bank Stadium on October 17th, 2025. And just kind of looking at when I've looked to go see him, I almost went, and not even to Minnesota, or obviously he's only came to Fargo, to North Dakota that one time. But I almost thought about it for the Freshen Up Tour. He was coming to Winnipeg, Manitoba, which is just straight north of me where I'm at, about 3-hour drive or so. I suppose getting over the border nowadays, maybe add another hour to it though. But yeah, I really thought about that. He was up there for the Freshen Up Tour at the Bell MTS Place. I believe that's a hockey arena too. Obviously in Canada, I would guess. But that was on September 28th of 2018. And I remember I went and looked at tickets and just kind of calculating the Canadian to US dollar exchange and that, and I was like, wow, this is the best I can do on that. And I just decided, I really looked at it, when the sale started, and I just kind of, no, I'm not going to do it. And I'm kind of kicking myself a little on that, but not really. But I'm happy I'm going to go see him now again. So yeah, that's it on it, I guess. I really just kind of wanted to talk about kind of him in this area here of kind of opportunities I've had to go see him fairly close. Anywhere I'm at from where I live, I got to drive, so it's going to be a trek. So Fargo was kind of an oddball one there. I'm very happy he came and played there, and he kept calling the audience the Fargoians. We got a big kick out of that. We still get a kick out of that. I don't know if that's what we call people from Fargo. I've never heard it up until Paul called us that, and I'm actually from Grand Forks, not from Fargo. So, but for that night, I was a Fargoian, and I loved it, especially every time Paul said it. Hello, Fargoians, he kept saying. But anyways, I'm going to get wrapping up before I get rambling too much here, as I wanted to make this fairly quick because I'm banging out all these videos right now. I'm going to get fully wrapping up. Before that, I want to once again thank all my subscribers, and thanks to any new subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And do hit the notification bell so you know when I got new videos coming out. Also, please give the video a like. And like I always say, if you stuck around to this point, you must like it. So please give it a like and do leave a comment. I love having a discussion with everybody. I really want to hear who's all going and seeing this leg of the Got Back Tour. Let me know if you've already seen the Got Back Tour, or just let me know what tours you've seen them on and what the prices were that you paid. That's always an interesting thing. But, it's just how it is. The prices are kind of going to go up until somebody fixes the whole Ticketmaster situation. I don't think prices are going to go down on tickets and get back to normal again. I am putting a vast majority of the blame on Ticketmaster. As a matter of fact, I'm going to link in my video description here the John Oliver. If everybody watches Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, he's always got a pretty good topic every night that he does a show. And he did do one a few years back on Ticketmaster, and I think it explains a lot of what we're seeing on these prices and why, from 2014 when I saw him, or even 2016 when he was last in Minneapolis, or so forth and so on, why the tickets have got so outrageous. And I don't think it's all on Paul and the band. So please go watch that. Let me know your thoughts on it if you haven't already seen it, or just go watch it again if you have seen it, because I think it's very informative, and it's also presented in a good, funny way. That you learn a lot. I learn a lot with comedy. I've learned that if they're teaching you something, if they're doing it in a comedic way, I think that's maybe why my videos are kind of like they are, where I'm lighthearted and just have fun with it, because I that's how I kind of learn. I don't know how informative I am though. But anyways, I'm really getting rambling, and I'm trying to sign out. I'm Beetle Dustino, signing out.